Dr. Leland.
Today, I love that we have a purpose, which is protecting our children in the digital age. And that's what I want to focus on today about awareness, safety, and smart choices, right? Because we live, let's face it, we don't want social media, but that is the currency of today's business. Our children are more connected more than ever before because social media, online gaming, digital communication have become central to their social lives, right? And we want our kids to go outside and play, but as much as we want to, I don't even see kids play anymore. And I try to have my kids play, but they like to play guitars now. So I'm okay with that, right? I do love that they are raised in a household where we play video games all the time. But you also see people in the video game world that are questionable. Hopefully, these platforms not only offer incredible opportunities for learning and connection, but also the not so good connection. And I don't know how many of you guys are parents that of little children, right? They come with serious risks like phishing scams Agape was talking about today, online dating dangers, and exposure to online predators. They can pretend their whole entire lives that they're 15 when they're actually 52. And it's not going to be easy for you to take them out of that space when they have worked on these children for months, right? So, as parents, it's our responsibility to stay informed and be proactive. So, we have to teach our kids how to spot red flags. And I know Danielle has little children, so hopefully this will help with personal information, navigating online interaction safety, cyber criminals, like what Nicole was talking about. Predators often target children because they may be more trusting, making them very vulnerable to scams, identity theft, emotional manipulation, was Agape was talking about. But by educating our children of these risks, build awareness and develop critical thinking skills to make them safe. I don't want you to go to fear mongering either. If you do this and think this is going to happen, right? Make sure it's appropriate conversation for appropriate age. But having that open communication is really key so that your children can feel comfortable and not judgy from parents, right? Setting like digital boundaries, monitoring their screen time, especially if they're littles, and appropriate discussing those appropriate online behavior, what's not to do. Oh, don't send nudie pictures. Okay, let's just start there. I don't care if your kids are 7 or 8, they think it's just funny, but it's not funny when someone threatens to tell their family what they did. They know that it's wrong, right? So I'm going to share some platforms that I have used. Here's the first. We're talking about fishing real quick, right? What is fishing? It's not to catch fish, guys. It's to catch your children, okay, or you as an adult. Now, fishing is when scammers try to trick kids into sharing personal information, passwords, or they don't have banks yet. But some adults, actually, I have a student in college that provided her bank details. And I'm like, why would you do that? They're like, oh, they're going to give me $10,000 for my scholarship. Who scholarship? Did you talk to somebody about this? No, they're like via text. I'm like, okay, that's a scam, right? But they already got scammed $1,000. Social media credentials, often fake emails, messages, websites. I'm going to share that I actually almost got scammed last year, and I had a gut feeling that it was a wrong. I was applying for a job, and then the job replied with the same company, but the email was just getting weirder and weirder. I knew that was a scam in the middle of it, and I keep telling my sisters, I'm like, tell me if I'm wrong, right? So how do we teach kids to identify red flags with when it comes to phishing? Look for spelling errors or urgent warnings or suspicious links. Like, oh, this is from Bank of America because my child now has Bank of America. I said, okay, look at the URL. Okay. When it actually does not say anything about bankofamerica.com and it has some other whatever, that's a scam, right? Don't log in to your email like that or click on anything because or if you say, oh, you want a price or need to verify an account. No, you don't, right? And then do two-factor authentication, right? 2FAs. Most people will get their cell phone so they can get a code, right? If you are working international with a developer, so I'm working right now with a developer, he always has to ask me what my code is to log into my dashboard, right? Because I know that it's him. If it's somebody else is asking, it's something else. And if you feel really weird, don't be afraid to change your password and then tell them, look, it looks suspicious to me. So can you go on a camera right now just to see and verify? Always verify people on camera, what they look like, rather than just doing this avatar, right? Especially if you're working with money. And all of your banks and all the people actually do not verify. Here's another thing that I'm going to tell you that I use with my children. Have passwords. So some people are like, What do you mean, CJ? So when the kids were little, I used to pick them up, and sometimes one of my friends, that mom friends, would pick them up. We have passwords and we change them. So let's say, for example, hey, CJ's kid, Bella, I'm here to pick up you because your mom's in the hospital. And Bella's, what? Most kids will just hop in because they know the story, they know the background, they've studied your social media. But what they don't know is that we have a family passcode, password, right? And we change it every month, by the way. So what I do is I say, hey, Bella, if anyone else asks you to do anything, they need to know the password, and this is the password. And if Bella does not trust them and they don't know the password, I said, if they him and ha and question the password and they said, don't worry about the password, run back inside and tell your teacher and call 911 right away because they don't know you. I would say, yeah, create passwords for your kids. If someone tries to pick them up, someone tries to give them puppies or candy, whatever it is, it could be their coach, it could be anybody. Make sure you have passwords. Now, I'm going to share a couple of, let's see, links. I'm just going to name them for now on the things that I actually use on my kids, right? My first one, I was definitely a helicopter mom. But have you guys heard of Life 360? This is on location tracking and family safety, right? If you're not sharing a family on iPhone, you can actually share locations, right? But if you don't share locations, Life 360 actually has that location tracking. But here's another thing. How many of you guys right now actually have Snapchat? Anybody? Snapchat? Let me see what the chat said. Anybody has Snapchat in here? Nobody has Snapchat? Really? That's surprising. But Danielle, right? So here's the thing. If you allow your children to have cell phones and they are on Snapchat, that's stalker heaven because people actually, some of your kids want to have more friends online. And guess what? They can track you exactly where you live, where your kids go to school, who their friends are, who they're hanging out, what food did they eat, what day, where is the hangout. Everything about your children is on Snapchat because they have a map exactly where to go. So if your kids have Snapchat or your neighbor's kids have Snapchat, make sure to tell them delete everybody that you don't know. They won't do it though, right? So you got to make sure because it will literally, you have to have that conversation. By the way, people could be stalking you and you don't know because some of these phishing scams, they'll put pictures like, oh, I'm 15. Again, there might be 52 years old in there. Another one is called Norton Family. It's great for filtering websites and monitoring online activity. Google Family Link also have that. It's free option for Android users to monitor the usage and set limits. Another one is M Spy. It literally tracks calls, messages, GPS locations, and then they have more advanced monitoring. There's also Net Nanny, which blocks inappropriate content and provides real-time alerts for parents. Quote Studio, it's Qustodio. They offer web filtering. So if they're filtering like what's the good place to whatever, right? It also do screen time control and location tracking is what I look for in an app is because in case that your children get snapped, okay, taken, you know where the last location is and you can ping and triangulate it. And then, of course, number one out there is called Bark. They monitor the text messages, social media, and web browsing. But literally, okay, there's also privacy laws, right? But when they're under the age of 18 and they're in your household and they're in your family, you need to have that conversation. Don't make me not trust you by looking at your messages, right? Have that conversation because you want to give them trust. You want to build that trust with your family. But sometimes kids are a little sneaky and you just check on them and see, but know that they know you're tracking them, right? To make sure that they know. Another one is Kaspersky. Kaspersky is safe for kids. They track web activity, manage screen time, and monitors location. There's an app called Discord. How many of you guys know Discord? Discord, most kids will get that. Their school actually banned Discord because their teacher, one of their music teacher was having inappropriate conversation and she said, "Oh, they were my kids' friends." Her daughter is friends with other kids in the class and they had a conversation and then she had a party for her kids. It was not alcoholic or anything like that. They had a pizza party. But for some reason, maybe she built rapport with the kids that went in the sleepover. And she continued the conversation on Discord. And some of the kids were not smart enough. They used Discord in their school computers. The IT guys saw it and said, "What are these?" And so she got fired on the spot, right? Who uses WhatsApp in here? You guys use WhatsApp for your business? Anybody? WhatsApp is good because you can, okay, so you know how you're like, don't share your passcodes, blah, blah, blah. It can be, guess what? WhatsApp actually is a nice app that most government employees use. They probably won't tell you that because it's encrypted. The wall is very strong. It is encrypted, and you can have a disappearing messages on there. Although it's good for you, it might not be good for your children. Does that make sense? Because the text messages that you're trying to track is no longer there because it disappeared, right? So you got to watch all of these things. It's called WhatsApp because you got to do privacy settings, contacts only, right? You also need to make sure that they can't click on those links, attachments, unknown messages because those are phishing scams. And then again, the most important thing is having that open conversation with your children, right? Because Bark actually tries to go through the web filtering, it's like certain words and things like that. But WhatsApp is so strong that you can literally share your password with your whatever and it disappears. It's gone. And the reason I know that's because I know somebody who's in the AI business, really high up there, and uses WhatsApp. And I'm like, why are you giving your passwords in WhatsApp? What's wrong with you? Like, they're like, CJ, it's encrypted wall to wall. I've already checked back and forth and loopholes, and it disappears. You're fine. I'm like, oh. So that's when I knew that WhatsApp actually is very strong and it has a disappearing messages that you don't actually will find and you can't find it anymore. It just pretty much goes away. So those are some of the apps that I would share. But also the most important thing is just having that conversation with your children, having a password. I know it's so sad, but today, if you go to Walmart and somehow your kids disappear and they have their phone, you're like, oh yeah, it's fine. But they don't have a password. Have them memorize their address, where they live, memorize your phone number, not just, oh, it's on my phone. No, have your kids memorize your phone, your full name, your address. In case they do get taken, they know exactly where you are, what address, what city that you're in. But always have that password if you have other people picking up your kids or even pretending, have that conversation when your kids are little, right? These are all preventative that I sure hope and pray that it never happens to any of our children. But if it does, you know that the password is actually for the people, not for your phone. Okay. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting Agape for confronting domestic violence.